Before we begin, welcome to Western Store. If you enjoy unforgettable Wild West stories filled with mystery, courage, and justice, be sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss the next adventure. The first thing Ethan Mercer noticed beneath the faded grey blanket was a trembling hand, bruised by rough rope and covered in desert dust. A weak pulse still fought beneath the skin, refusing to surrender. Dawn stretched across the lonely plains outside Dry Creek, Arizona, where silence usually ruled the land. Ethan, a 48-year-old rancher, had spent years living alone after losing the only family he had ever known. He built his ranch far from town because peace was easier to find where people rarely visited. That peaceful life ended the moment he spotted an abandoned wagon resting beside his north fence. One wheel had sunk into the dry earth, while an old mule stood nearby, patiently chewing grass as though it had been waiting until someone discovered its strange cargo. No driver, no tracks leading away, only a blanket covering what looked like a lifeless body. A folded note hung from the wagon gate with a piece of worn leather. Ethan unfolded it slowly. Two short words were written in thick black ink. "Payment complete." His jaw tightened. He had never ordered anything except ranch supplies. Certainly not this. Lifting the blanket carefully, he found a young woman curled into herself, her wrists cut by tight ropes and her face marked with fresh bruises. Dirt covered her clothes, but fear covered her eyes even more. She forced herself to look at him before whispering words that stopped him cold. "You paid for me. Now finish it." Ethan remained perfectly still. After a long silence, he quietly cut the ropes from her wrists. "I didn't buy you," he said, "and no person belongs to another." The young woman searched his face, unable to believe him. "Then don't let them take me back," she whispered. Without another word, Ethan carried her into his cabin and laid her beside the fireplace. As she slowly drifted into exhausted sleep, Ethan returned to inspect the wagon once more. Carved into the wooden tailgate was a strange symbol he had not seen in years. The moment his fingers touched it, an old memory returned, and he realized someone hadn't left the woman at his ranch by mistake. Someone had chosen him. Morning sunlight spilled across the ranch, but Ethan Mercer could not shake the feeling that unseen eyes were watching every move he made. The mysterious symbol carved into the wagon haunted his thoughts. Years ago, he had seen the same mark burned onto crates belonging to a ruthless outlaw named Victor Kane, a man rumored to profit from human suffering and disappear before the law could catch him. Inside the cabin, the young woman finally opened her eyes. She accepted a cup of water with trembling hands, but kept glancing toward the windows as if expecting armed riders to burst through the door at any moment. "My name is Ethan," he said calmly. After a long silence, she answered, "Anna." It was the first time she had spoken her name. "You'll be safe here," Ethan promised. Anna lowered her eyes. "No place is safe if Victor Kane knows where I am." Before Ethan could ask another question, the distant sound of horse hooves echoed across the valley. He stepped outside and watched three riders appear on the dusty trail leading toward the ranch. They stopped just beyond the gate, their faces hidden beneath wide-brimmed hats. The man in the center called out with a confident smile. "Morning, rancher. We believe something that belongs to us was delivered here." Ethan folded his arms. "You've got the wrong ranch." The stranger laughed softly. "The papers say otherwise." He pulled a folded document from his saddlebag and waved it in the air. Ethan never looked at it. "A forged paper doesn't make a free woman into property," he replied. The rider's smile slowly disappeared. "You've got courage," he said. "Let's see how long it lasts." The three horses turned around and rode back toward town without another word, leaving only dust behind. Anna stepped onto the porch, fear written across her face. "They'll come back," she whispered. Ethan looked toward the endless desert where the riders had vanished. "I know," he answered. He rested one hand on the old rifle hanging beside the front door, then looked back at Anna with calm determination. "This time they won't find a frightened rancher waiting for them." Far across the open plains, another lone rider watched the ranch from the top of a rocky hill and silently reached for his rifle. Before sunrise, Ethan Mercer saddled his horse while the desert remained silent beneath a pale blue sky. Anna stepped onto the porch, her fear still visible, but there was something new in her eyes. Hope. Ethan handed her a small silver sheriff's badge that had belonged to his late father. "If anything happens," he said quietly, "show this to the judge in Dry Creek. He'll know who to trust." Together they rode toward town, keeping to the narrow trails between the hills. Every shadow seemed to hide danger. Halfway there, Ethan spotted fresh horse tracks crossing the road. "They're ahead of us," he murmured. As they reached the courthouse, Judge Samuel Harper welcomed them inside and listened carefully while Anna described everything Victor Kane's gang had done. The judge's expression grew darker with every word. "If this is true," he said, "I'll sign a protection order immediately." Before the ink could dry, the courthouse doors burst open. Victor Kane entered with 2 armed men behind him, wearing the same cold smile that had terrified countless innocent people. "Judge," Kane said smoothly, "that woman is legally mine." Judge Harper calmly examined the documents Kane handed him. After only a few seconds, he looked up. "These signatures are forged." The room fell silent. Kane's smile disappeared. Ethan stepped forward. "I told you paper can't hide the truth." Outside, the town sheriff arrived with several deputies after receiving Ethan's message earlier that morning. Within moments, Kane and his men were surrounded. Realizing there was no escape, Kane slowly lowered his revolver. As the deputies led the criminals away in chains, Anna looked at Ethan with tears in her eyes. "You saved my life," Ethan smiled gently. "No, you found the courage to save your own. I simply stood beside you." For the first time in many years, peace returned to the lonely ranch. The desert wind carried away the dust of the past, leaving behind the promise of a new beginning. Thank you for watching Western Store. If you enjoyed this Wild West adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for another unforgettable story where courage always rides stronger than fear.